It's a gorgeous Friday night in Portland, Oregon, as a Cascadia rivalry begins what will be a rivalry week in Major League Soccer, though this one in USL. Portland Timbers 2 hosting Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 just 2 days before the first teams meet in MLS play. Good evening and welcome inside of Providence Park. I'm Jake Sivan alongside Ross Smith. We're about a third of the way through the USL season. For T2, this is their 10th game. For WFC2, their 8th. Ross, you can look at the season kind of in segments. So where are we at right now? What are the players going through in this segment of the season?
I think at this point in the season, you're starting to think, can I kick on? You look at the start of the season, and at the start, it's about finding your feet, finding your fitness, getting used to your new teammates, possible new surroundings. But now it's all about making a solid impression. It's about excelling in large parts of the games, because it's not only playing good in these matches, it's making an impression that you can go up and you can play for the first team.
One of the players that will be certainly trying to make an impression today is Amobi Okugo, making his debut at Providence Park. He was signed by the Timbers' first team on Monday, and he will now play for T2, start tonight at center back. Ross, Amobi Okugo, a 6-year MLS vet, providing depth, a versatile piece for Caleb Porter on the first team.
This is a strong signing for the Portland Timbers, and with Okugo coming into the team, he can provide depth at the defensive midfielder position, at the center back position. He is one that will go in there and give you a solid performance game in, game out. Tonight, it's about fitness for him.
We're back with the lineups and the kickoff after the national anthems.
This car wasn't made in Detroit or Tokyo or Mexico City. This, the Mini Clubman, was crafted in Oxford, England, a place where mass production isn't all that massive. And each car is engineered, customized, tuned, and crafted one at a time. Introducing the new Mini Clubman, made in Oxford.
Mini of Portland, proud sponsor of the Portland Thorns and Timbers 2. We make it fun.
We want to be a team that's expansive. We want to be a team that when we play in Merlot, fans want to come watch us play because we're exciting. Because we have a good product on the field.
Space left foot, yes! Eddie, Eddie, Eddie!
You should see that the hard work that you're putting into it is working. And you should feel excited about that. We can never be satisfied with what we have to do to continue to take the next step.
Tonight, home-baked Papa Murphy's Chicken Bacon Artichoke Gourmet Delight, topped with fresh spinach, grilled chicken, artichoke hearts, and bacon. Or try the Vegetarian Gourmet Delight, topped with creamy garlic sauce and your favorite fresh vegetables on a crispy, thin crust. And at just $11 for a large, all you need for this gourmet meal is a comfy spot on the couch. Order online at papamurphys.com. Love at 425 degrees.
It's our 5th annual Stand Together Week, and you're invited to celebrate by teaming up with your favorite Timbers and Thorns player to give back to our community. Since 2011, we've logged over 10,000 hours of service at more than 130 events benefiting youth and the environment. It's going to be another special week in 2016. Sign up at ptstandtogether.com to save your spot. Together, we can give, unite, and inspire.
The world is a curious place, full of puzzles still waiting to be solved. Stonehenge, the pyramids, Easter Island, and today, another enigma rises out of the clouds. Who is the face on the tail?
Fantastic evening for soccer at Providence Park as Portland Timbers 2 plays their second match of the season here at the venue usually reserved for the first team. A couple weeks ago, T2 a 3-1 win over Real Monarchs here at Providence Park. Tonight, the opponent, the unbeaten Vancouver Whitecaps FC2, the lone team without a loss in USL this season. 17 points in first place in the West. Time for our starting lineups for this match, beginning with Portland Timbers 2. They're 3-5-1, 10 points in 8th place in the West. And certainly to note, as we mentioned, Amobi Akugo making a start, making his debut at Providence Park. And Viljan Bijev playing the number 10 role, central midfield for the second straight match.
Well, it's a 4-3-3, and as you mentioned, Bijev, it's going to be interesting just to see how he fits in, because the majority of the matches we've seen him feature, he's played up front as that lone striker. So how does he do coming back in that number 10 where he's having to twist and turn, where he's going to have to be aware of bodies around him, and he's going to be responsible for finding that killer pass and finding the pass that can spring open his teammates. Be neat to see how he plays that role tonight.
Notable on the bench, Blake Bodley making his first appearance in the 18 this season, the Academy member. For Vancouver Whitecaps FC2, again unbeaten, 5-0-2, 17 points, best in USL and points per game, best in the West. And right on top there, Fatau Ross making his return to Portland, his first start of the season. Of course, played for T2 a year ago.
Well, he's crafty, he's tricky, he's very technical on the ball. Of course, him coming back to Providence Park, coming back to Portland, he'll be looking to make a big impression, obviously. You always want to when you come back and you play against your old team. But just look out for the fullbacks, Chung and Levi's. I really like these young fullbacks for Vancouver Whitecaps too. They like to bomb on, very confident.
They're a young team, Vancouver Whitecaps FC2, as are Portland Timbers 2. Taylor Pay wearing the armband tonight. Member of the first team, will be playing at right back. Had been spending most of his time at center back while with T2, but with Amobi Akugo making the start tonight alongside Michael Gallagher at center back, Taylor Pay at maybe his more natural right back side. Andrew Gregor's team, Ross, started the season 0-3. They have been very good since then. No one has been better than Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. There is Viljan Bijev making his second straight start in the midfield.
It's a good litmus test for the Andrew Gregor's side tonight, just to see how their progression has been as they come in to their 10th match of the season, just to see how the development has been going.
Ben Polk scored the last time that T2 played here at home at Providence Park in that 3-1 win over Real Monarchs. Nick Beasler scored the first goal of the season for T2 this year. And we're underway at Providence Park. Portland Timbers 2, Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2, USL Friday night matchup. Took a little bit, Ross, for T2 to get in a rhythm this season. As I mentioned, they started 0-3, but since then they've been 3-2-1 and have really turned things around, have been playing much better, much more positively. What have you seen as a difference in T2 as they've now gotten into some rhythm, gotten some results this year?
I think it's the hard work that they've put in on the training ground to develop an identity. Their 4-3-3, it mimics, it mirrors the first team.
Maybe an opportunity for Fatau, called for a handball, falls to Greg from distance, it's blocked, and it goes in. Vancouver in the opening minutes has taken a 1-0 lead, and it's Kyle Gregg once again, his 8th of the season.
Well, it's one ball that isn't dealt with by the back line for the Portland Timbers. There was a shout of handball. I think it could have been a strong shout as Gallagher's hand looked to be in an unnatural position. But as that ball is flicked on, there's no depth. It comes up, it does strike the hand of Gallagher, but referee decides to play on. You have to say it's a bit of fortune from there as the ball deflects. As McIntosh carries himself the other way, trying to follow the shot, but it ricochets off of Portland Timbers' body and carries itself into the back of the net.
Kyle Gregg, 8 goals this season. Alone now in 2nd place in the USL, behind only Jack McBean. 8 goals in 8 matches for the Whitecaps FC2 striker.
Conceding goals in that fashion frustrates you. Any goal you concede will frustrate you, but the manner in which it came about, how it's one ball being flicked on, and the fact that there wasn't cover, that's where you almost, at the start of matches, you got to drop off that extra couple of yards just as and while you figure out the game and get your distances right. And we could see that one ball flicked on. The Portland Timbers defense didn't cover around, didn't drop enough, and from there they were scrambling in a bit of trouble.
Levi's goes down. Pay gets it out wide to Brett. He kept it in play. Looking for Ben Polk, and it's sent out for a corner kick, first one of the match.
It's a strong reaction, and looking at Brett today have a big impact when we talk about having strong impressions in a match. That's an area on the wings where, if you look at the first team, they look to attack down the sides, the runs, being creative, getting balls into the box. And so you look for Nico Brett, who comes with a big pedigree, a big talent he is.
Farfan sends it into the box. Ritchie is able to catch. Again, Vancouver coming forward. Haber has Gregg in the box, took a heavy touch. It's Fatal from distance off Nick Beasler. Farfan trying to keep it from going out for a corner. He was unable to. And now Vancouver has a corner kick.
They're doing a nice job, Vancouver Whitecaps, too, to turn the back four. It's a good ball by Chung just to go in behind, and right away you're starting to stretch the game, and you get your runners just releasing themselves and turning the back line to face their own goal.
Brett Levi's will take the corner. Bijev, a defensive header. Oh, but it's right to DeVitt. It was blocked. And T2 may be fortunate there.
Wasn't the strongest of headers by Bijev. There's one coming back towards your own goal. It is difficult, but you do have to do better.
Seymour looking direct for Fatal, and it's to Kendall McIntosh. Brett tries to flick on towards Belmar. Won by Baldissimo, now Fatal gets around Bijev, goes into Taylor Pay, and a foul's called on Taylor Pay.
Strong run by Fatal, just looking to put the ball again beyond the right back of the Portland Timbers 2 Pay. He takes the body contact from there. It's a strong start for the Whitecaps side here, who are getting on the ball and look to be the aggressor early on.
Levi's loops it into the box. Header won initially by Gregg, then Farfan gets it to Beasler. Andre Lewis missed last week with an injury. He's back this week. Pay came off the chest of Levi's. Sends it forward. Greg back to Fatau. Pressure from T2 causing problems for Vancouver. It came off of Nico Brett. Throw for Vancouver.
Well, the Timbers did well in the end. I thought the pressure was coming late. Belmar was chasing, but the rest of the team didn't get up quick enough. But in the end, they did affect the back line from trying to play out.
Amobi Akugo signed on Monday to the first team, the Portland Timbers. To the feet of Brett, back to Akugo. Lewis spins in the midfield and then gets it taken away. Here comes Vancouver. Greg let it run on. He thought Fatau was further up the field. And a possibility for a break is all for naught.
Well, Lewis, he spun into trouble there. I think that's one where if you can get it out your feet, look the opposite side.
Andre Lewis played for Vancouver the past 2 seasons, was signed to the MLS team, spent a lot of time with WFC2. Back playing his old teammates for the 2nd time this season. Tonight,
you were asking me before just the progression and the difference that you see in T2, and I think the big thing for Andrew Gregor is, number one, for the players to develop in their character and to be brave on the ball and have that courage, but to look for the positive balls, to try and break those lines, to try and get players in the pockets, but find them with the ball in that space as well.
Gardner finds Greg. Back to Haber. Fatau has Levi's overlapping, a back heel just behind Levi's.
And I think so much of that identity comes, of course, from the first team and how Caleb Porter's side plays, but it has to be reflective of the players that you have in your side as well too.
Chung comes forward. Gardner back to Caden Chung. He can provide a spectacular moment. Got around Polk, but then Farfan helped out. Polk, a nice touch into space. Belmar wants it forward. Farmer comes over to help and plays it to safety.
Well done from Farmer, just cleaning up things there. But I look at this T2 side and how it has to be pertinent to the players that you have. And you see with Andre Lewis getting on the ball, trying to cycle the ball around, getting the rotation. And then you get Bijev, who's playing that number 10 today. You think about that first team, similar to Diego Valeri. Can you get him in pockets where he can be creative and he can look up the pitch?
Good build up here, looking for Belmar. Ball maybe floated a little too high, and Belmar's header's over the net.
And that's not a bad run by Carlton Belmar. We often see him looking to run in beyond and play off the shoulder, and there he's just peeling off the far center back.
Brett tries to get beyond Levi's. It's off the Whitecaps FC2 defender.
There's going to be a lot of pressure on these players tonight. That comes with coming into Providence Park and the surroundings, the stadium, and you have to bet it's in the minds of the players that the first team manager is going to be watching, and the bigger setting, this is where the first team plays. And so that alone, all of a sudden, you start to think of yourself as that first team player. You put yourself in this scenario, and then you know that eyes are watching you. And you know that if you have a good day today, then perhaps you're getting a pat on the back from the first team manager when you see them next, and you're getting more and more into the minds as the first team manager goes to game days and writing out their 18.
The first teams will be playing here in about a day and a half. 1:30 on Sunday. Timbers against the Whitecaps as part of rivalry week in Major League Soccer. Get an early preview tonight in USL.
Just seen early on that Beasler getting on the ball, Andre Lewis. And for Lewis, his passes haven't quite come off. Just that confidence to get on that ball. When things aren't going their way, they're 1-0 down. Who's going to be the players in the middle of the park to step up, get their foot on the ball, and try and control this game?
Big run forward from Levi's, the left back. McIntosh played it with his feet. Looked like it came off the towel when it did.
Brett Levi's had a strong game in the first match we saw this year between the Whitecaps and Timbers too. And as I mentioned in the opening when we saw the lineups, he's the one who's going to like to bomb forward. He'll like to overlap or he'll cut inside. He's got a nice left foot. He can pick a pass.
Belmar turns in the midfield. Eventually got it poked away. And Levi's a 23-year-old from Saskatchewan. One of 2 players for WFC2 to start every match this season. Made the transition to left back in the preseason, actually with the first team. He was down in Tucson with the Whitecaps. Made a strong impression. Bijev wins it in the midfield for T2. Brett tried to play it back to Lewis. Gardner wins it for Vancouver. Haber making a run forward. Farfan broke it up. Falls to Gardner. Gregg through to Haber. The flag is up. He's offside. McIntosh made the save anyway.
Good ideas from both sides as the Timbers initially popped it through Beasler and Lewis. That came to Brett, who had an errant pass, and from there the Whitecaps were going back down. But it was a good line by the Timbers defense in the end, just to step up, to stay all connected, and it was close, but it did look as though the linesman made the right decision.
Michael Gallagher, member of the USL Team of the Week. Only player on T2 to have played every minute this season. A rookie out of Washington. Wasn't drafted. Was signed to T2. And has been a real bright spot for this team first 9 matches.
Well, he's responded well after the initial couple minutes in the match where he was caught out of position. And debatable whether it was a handball, but since then he's won a strong header. He's connected a couple difficult passes.
Nick Beasler is fouled, and T2 will have a restart, a free kick in a dangerous spot. Nico Brett, dangerous from free kicks. Saw him put one off the crossbar earlier this season at Merlot Field. An opportunity here to put it on frame.
It's a good area because the line is so high, it's nearing that 18-yard box.
He's not going to go for goal, going to chip it into the box. Headed clear by Vancouver.
Not deep enough. Wasn't deep enough. You want that ball going where the Whitecaps defense will be running back towards their own goal and having to scramble and not knowing whether their keeper's coming for it or not.
Farfan on the left. Does very well to get around Chung. Farfan in the box towards Bijev. Don't know if he was ready for it. Now Lewis trying to come forward. Polt tries to win it back and fouls Gardner.
Well, he's a sparkling left back, Farfan, and the way that he's just gotten on the ball, and was only a few moments away from saying we haven't seen enough of Farfan yet. He's a young player in this T2 side, but I think He's got tremendous amount of ability and potential. And the way he just gets the ball in the wing, and he was so direct, there was no doubt in his mind. He checks towards the defender, Chung, and then from there he squares him up, knocks it past. It's very positive, very confident from the youngster.
Oh, Farmer makes a mess of it on a back pass to Richie. Belmar slips in, slides in. Brett going for a goal, and he put it just wide. The pressure from T2 up front creates an opportunity, and they just cannot take advantage.
Well, Richie was all over the place as he tries to keep that ball in play. Didn't want to shift it onto his left peg, and that's what Carlton Belmar can do. Provide that pressure from the front. So a couple times now he's made the back line for Vancouver Whitecaps too nervy.
Belmar injured his shoulder last week against Colorado Springs. Left that match right around halftime. And you can see the way he's walking and holding that shoulder down to the side. It's possible, certainly, that he re-aggravated that. Was clear to play tonight.
It's interesting to see the way the Whitecaps too are set up. It looks to be a 4-3-3, and I just wondered with the way that their senior team there, their parent team played against Toronto FC in the last match was a 4-4-2. And so that's where you wonder if your second teams, your USL teams, do they mirror exactly what the first team is doing?
Fatau gets around Pay. Akugo stands up Fatau, fouls Fatau, and now Vancouver will have a free kick in a dangerous spot. Discussion over who will take it. And we know, and T2 players and coaching staff knows Fatau well, and they'll know that he certainly wants to take this restart.
Well, it was a foul. It was a good piece of play by Fatau. It's a couple times now he's gotten the better of Taylor Pay.
Levi's over the ball. Fatau as well for Vancouver.
It's a nice angle, this is, the way it's sitting up.
It will be Fatau, and it's a spectacular goal on his return to Portland. And Vancouver has taken a 2-0 lead within 19 minutes.
Well, the angle was such that it favored a right footer, because with that curler, you've got a lot of the goal to shoot at, but it's all about getting up and over that wall. You don't need to dip it as such, because if you get it over, the net is soon upon you, and from there he gets the contact, he gets the direction. The velocity is such that McIntosh can't do anything about it. And what a blow that is, as the Timbers look to have been finding their way back into the match.
Scored 7 goals last year for T2, second on the team. In the offseason, made the move to Whitecaps FC2. Anyone who watched T2 last season knows that that's really his bread and butter. That's what he excels at, scoring from distance. Keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL.
I was just looking down to see if any of the T2 players, if their heads would drop after conceding that second goal, because as I mentioned, after the first goal, they seemed to react in such a positive way, and they got back on the ball, starting to control the game. And from there, against the run of play, Fatau scoring a lovely goal. But if you're Andrew Gregor, you're perhaps looking down and you see more movement from your front men, Bijev, Carlton Belmar, looking to see how they complement one another, getting on the ball more.
Gardner with Haber in the middle, looking for Haber, headed away by Beezer. Another chance for Fatau. He settles, he curls, and it's just wide. Dangerous again from Vancouver.
They need to get closer to him. And I think now, be a couple of players, Nico Brett, Taylor Pay will be thinking, I've got to shut him down. That next 10 minutes, I've got to get close. I've got to make him feel my breath, smell my breath, and do everything I can to try and knock him off his game, because right now Fatau is obviously feeling very good about how his match has started.
Lewis over the top looking for Brett. He gets to Nico Brett. T2 again unable to threaten Spencer Ritchie.
Well, DeVitt handled well in the end, but those two seem a little bit shaky, the center-back pairing there, just getting their distances and getting the first clearances.
Belmar to Bijev. Tried to get it into Brett, came out to Belmar. He tries it from distance. Ritchie makes the save. Header from Vancouver falls nicely to Nico Brett. And Bijev just couldn't run it down.
We talk about that movement and that one ball from the throw in. Bijev and Belmar both going for the same ball. And that's where you need the run of games together. You need to put that work in on the training ground to understand each other's game type. And for Bijev, that number 10 being relatively new position for him, is the second straight game. He's got to understand what his role is in that position and understand where that striker, that number 9, Carlton Belmar, is running.
Lewis out wide to Farfan, again going at Chung. It comes off Chung and it's a corner kick for T2. Nice battle between two 17-year-old outside backs. Caden Chung, a bright Canadian Youth International, and Marco Farfan, a bright spot in the Timbers Academy.
I think it's important for Farfan to keep going at him, and that's where you're behind 2-0, but the times that he's gotten on the ball, he's looked very positive, he's looked tricky.
Brett to take the corner to the near post, headed out by Vancouver, and not cleared yet. Not well done by Haber. Akugo trying to set himself up for a shot, unable to. Finally, Vancouver gets it clear. Fatawa back heel to Levi's. Levi's cuts inside. Akugo slides in, sends it out for a throw.
Well, coming in, I was wondering how strong a leader Akugo would be for this match, because we talked about him needing his fitness. He's gone without a game for quite some time, and so him coming in is a difference, because you want to play in a way for yourself individually to get that fitness, and you're trying to find your legs, you're finding your touch, your positioning on the pitch, but at the same time, of course, you want to have a positive impact on the game and be a leader for the rest of the players. It's trying to find that balance.
Lewis, diagonal ball, picks out Ben Polk. Polk sends it into the box. Farmer wins the header. Bijev combines well. A chance for Nico Brett, and he took too heavy of a touch. Gets back to him somehow, and he's still unable to get a shot out off. Would have been a brilliant chance for T2.
I just wondered initially whether there was a slight handball from Farmer as he was coming across and sliding. But great interplay between Bijev and Nico Brett to find his way through. As you said, it was a heavy touch though from Brett that ended up losing and wasting that chance.
Farfan again going at Chung. Gets the cross off. DeVitt handles it. Haber sends it forward. Gregg and Gallagher collide. Lewis is certainly fouled by Kyle Gregg. Referee says play on.
The referee didn't seem to even indicate that he was going to play on. You see the referee give the motion of the two arms out, palms facing the sky, but he seemed to think it was fair play. Clearly he was fouled, Lewis.
Baldissimo looking for Fatau. Pay wins the header. Fatau gets it back. Now Levi's. Gardner turns, Gets around Lewis. Still Gardner in the box. Akugo slides. Wins it cleanly.
Strong challenge by Akugo. Had to get it right as he went to ground. But Lewis, that's far too easy, especially with his pace and his range and his engine that we've seen. For Gardner just to goes by him with that ease, that's a letdown.
Gardner, an 18-year-old, one of several Whitecaps FC2 players that came through their academy. Whitecaps residency, as it's called there.
As you can see, Nico Bretti's gone to the other side, switching with Polk, and Bretti's coming inside more.
Bijev looking for Belmar. Belmar to Brett. T2 gets one back. 27th minute, and it's 2-1.
Great response by T2 as Nico Brett has been knocking on the door, and he finally takes his opportunity. As he swaps sides and he starts to come off that left-hand side into that middle, Carlton Belmar, how about this fight? His endeavor alone gets this goal, and Nico Brett just parks himself right in the middle of that goal, relies on that striker, Carlton Belmar, to do the dirty work and provide him with that pass, and from there, it's a simple tap-in, but one that takes the concentration levels to be up.
Third assist of the season for Belmar. Third goal of the year for Nico Brett, who now becomes T2's leading scorer. You give up 2 early goals, Ross, including one in the first minute. What is getting one back that quickly due to a team?
I think it picks the heads up. Certainly does right away, the confidence level, especially with these young pros. All of a sudden, you're back in the game. At 2-0, the more time goes on, you start to think, where's that goal coming about? And you start to become frustrated. Where you claw a goal back there's a lot of time. And now the momentum, you would think, would switch towards T2's side, and they would continue to press on now.
DeWitt steps up to win it.
Now, if you're Nico Brett, you're again thinking, right, good start. Last 5 minutes have been so positive, you got to go again.
Levi's into the box, just over the head of Greg. Haber on the back post. Still maybe an opportunity for Vancouver. Defended by Gallagher. Haber slipped, went down. Gallagher gets it out to Brett. Here comes T2. Tons of pace from Nico Brett, but a heavy touch, and Chung's able to control. And now Caden Chung will come forward. He's got the talent and the ability to do so. Gets around to Kugo, sends it wide to Fatau. Fatau gets around Polk, curls it, and right into the arms of Kendall McIntosh.
He's playing with a bit of swagger, Fatau. Again, you go back to what you need to do defensively to that. You got to get tight. You got to put in a tackle. You got to throw him off his game, find a way. For the Whitecaps too side of it, you want to keep feeding them the ball. Get them on the ball when you can so obviously see a player is feeling good about their game and full of confidence, it's oozing out of them. You just want to keep feeding them, get them the ball, and things will happen.
Another chance maybe for Brett. Back to Lewis. Pay gives it away. Seymour steps up to win it, then leaves for Fatau. Pay recovers. Fatau picks out Kyle Gregg, cuts inside. Leaves for Gardner. Now Haber, back to Gardner.
Taylor Pay, he struggled to find his footing in this game early on.
Haber at the near post, and he sent it over the bar. Daniel Haber had a brace when these two teams played on April 2nd.
He worked it well, and he hit it with confidence. See the idea, he's just trying to go for power as he's putting his foot right through the middle of the ball. In the end, he gets far too much underneath it.
Kugo, big ball towards Bijev. Flicked on to Polk. Back to Bijev.
Where Polk and Nico Brett, they're taking turns at going at different fullbacks for Vancouver Whitecaps too. I think that can potentially give you such a horrible time as a defender because you're getting different skill sets to look at. So just when you think you're getting used to one player, all of a sudden then things switch up and you got to get used to a different ability level.
Bijev from distance, it's blocked by Baldissimo. Gallagher into Polk.
The Whitecaps did well to force that ball back. They screened well, which getting into that passing line from Gallagher because Farfan was on his own, but there was enough Whitecaps bodies in that passing lane that the ball couldn't get to him.
Belmar out wide to Pay. Cuts inside. Taylor Pay's in the box. Now Belmar looped to the back post. Polk tries to run it down. Chung plays it out safely for another T2 corner.
It's a good idea by Belmar and Taylor Pay. They worked their space well as Pay drove into the edge of the 18 and just laying it off for Belmar. He's just trying to lift that ball to that far stick. Didn't quite get the angle he would have liked.
Brett's corner to the near post. Belmar tried to dummy it on. Maybe another chance for a cross for Brett as he flicks it well over to Vitt, runs it down, and then drives it well to the far side. It will be a goal kick. He wasn't able to keep it in play.
Some good play by Nico Brett. Very creative touch this is. Just as he lifts that ball over. Nice little scoop. From there, if he could just get to the end of it, he stutter stepped. Just trying to find his pass as the ball was onto his left foot.
Brett scored twice 2 weeks ago against Real Monarchs right here at Providence Park. Got his third goal of the season tonight in the 27th minute. Second round pick for the Timbers. Out of Robert Morris.
Well, he looks hungry, Nico Brett. He looks as though he's always wanting that ball, and it's a good decision there. Get the ball to him early, let him run out the fullback.
And he's on it now. Levi's. He's able to defend that well. Greg under a lot of pressure from Akugo. Gets it wide to Fatau.
Poor ball by Farmer, and just seeing the pass was there for it to go into Greg. I've just been watching that positioning of Greg, the striker for the Whitecaps too, and I like the positions he's taken up. He's not worried about running into the channel so much. He wants to put his back into one of the center backs. Wants to be that target man so you can play into him, and obviously he's got his goals, he's got his rewards so far this season, but he's playing that position rather in a clever way for the teammates around him.
And a team of youngsters. There are 3 teenagers starting tonight. He is certainly the veteran. Brett, left-footed drive. Ritchie had to parry it out to safety. As Nico Brett has certainly enjoyed playing in this match tonight.
We'll have that feeling as a player when everything's coming off. And that's the way his game has been for these last 10-15 minutes, where he's getting beyond players. A couple of times he's had a heavy touch. That final product hasn't quite been there as consistently as the positions he's gotten himself into would warrant, but he does have his goal, and he does look to be benefiting from it in terms of his confidence.
Brett on the ball again.
You always think that as an attacking player, when things are going well, you always want to turn up field. You always want to look for that positive pass. You're always looking to see if you can spring guys in, and he's been doing that in these 15 minutes where he's getting on the ball, getting on the half turn, and right away he's thinking, what can I do to release players, or how can I go forward?
Brett looking for Belmar. He was unable to keep it in play. Matthew Baldissimo, one of the 3 teenagers starting tonight for WFC2. An 18-year-old. Spent 5 years with the Whitecaps FC residency before being signed to Whitecaps FC2.
You think of the incentive that there is playing for these two sides in the USL level, and think about George Fashive last season with him getting in a run of games and him getting his reward playing for the first team. And I look at the Whitecaps too, and the amount of youngsters that Carl Robinson's willing to give opportunities to. He's willing to say, if you can do it at the USL level, I'll bring you up. And right away I think about Bustos, the number 10 for the Whitecaps, where he's had some games at this level for USL. He's a very tidy number 10. They really like the ability that he shows and what he can bring to the team. So it's a gateway. It's a gateway. If you do well here, then there's opportunities.
Belmar is offside. The flag comes up. Wasn't able to get a shot off. Anyway, Vancouver with 5 teenagers on their roster, all products of the residency. As we get another look at a chance for Belmar.
It's a good run by Belmar again. That's a couple of times now. He's just trying to peel off the far side of the center back shoulder, and Nico Brett, he's just sticking his cleats into the ground, trying to lift that ball up over the top, but Belmar just went a little bit too early.
Haber turns, switches fields to Fatau. Fatau gets around Taylor Pay. Lewis comes back to help. Fatau goes back to Levi's. Now Levi's comes forward. Lewis broke it up, couldn't keep it in play. It's a throw for Vancouver.
He had a little slip, Taylor Pay, but that was better from him. You see how close he got, and he recovered after a slip, and when Fatau pushed the ball away, just Taylor Pay left a leg in there for a second. That's part of the game. That's part of just leaving your foot in there, just having a little bit of contact, letting the player know, send the message.
Craig looking for Seymour, and it's off Lewis. It'll be a corner for Vancouver. Taylor Pay and Fatau, teammates last year on T2.
I really like the look of Michael Gallagher just there when he was coming through.
Yeah.
And those are times where I think as a center back you need to boss it. He'll come through for a header or a tackle, but you need to leave no doubt in anybody's mind in this stadium whose ball it is.
Fatau sends it to the back post. Bijev was there, as was Farmer, and it's off Farmer. It'll be a goal kick. Kendall McIntosh making his fifth straight start in goal. Wade Hamilton started the first 5 for T2, but has since been on the bench for the Timbers' first team after the injury to Adam Quaresay. Elevated Jake Gleason to starter. Wade Hamilton became the backup in MLS for the Timbers. And McIntosh the starter for T2. Akugo gives it away. Vancouver comes forward. Fatau running at Lewis now. Lewis pokes it away. Wins it back for T2. Brett keeps possession.
And that's what Lewis can offer. Just how he's come out of his pocket from the central area, coming across and sticking a foot in.
He was the 7th overall pick of the 2014 MLS Super Draft by Vancouver. Last 2 seasons he was with the Whitecaps. Pay finds Belmar, keeps it in play. Didn't get enough on that cross. It's still in play. Nico Brett, an opportunity, and it was deflected as that looked like that was headed towards goal.
Well, the way Richie was moving and he was scrambling, the goalkeeper for Whitecaps too, it was as though that strike was going to bother him. It looked as though it had a swerve to it before it deflected.
It came off of Sem DeVitt, who was in front of Richie, as Nico Brett was looking for his second and trying to level this match before halftime. Gallagher is pulled down and draws a foul.
That's so good from Gallagher. Right there, just outside he is, but not so tight that you're going to get rolled or that ball is going to be popped off. That then you're a fish out of water. The way he's just stayed with that ball and then gotten his body across.
Gallagher steps forward to Polk. Back to Gallagher, down the line for Farfan. Haber's back to defend. Farfan cuts inside. Lewis, Belmar, Pay. Timbers patiently building up. Fatal breaks it up. Timbers get a throw. Beasler under pressure. Seymour called for a foul.
I have to say they've had the better of the ball, the Timbers side. They've controlled it, possession. They've tried to prod and find their openings through the Whitecaps too. But the Whitecaps have been more ruthless, taking their chances.
Lewis does well to cut back in the midfield, looking for Bijev. Chung stepped up to win it for Vancouver. Only as far as Beasler, who puts his pass just out of the reach of William Bijev. Baldissimo, big switch to find Fatal with some space. Levi's overlapping on the left. Fatal cuts inside instead. Wanted a foul, didn't get it. And what looked like maybe a promising attack for Vancouver is cut short. Again, T2 in control of the ball. Haber comes over to break it up.
I think those are moments that frustrate you as a teammate or as a manager, where that ball, you just need to pass it into the path of Farfan, who has an opportunity then to isolate himself, go 1v1, and it's an under-hit pass.
Belmar turns. Finds Lewis. Lewis just runs right into Baldissimo. And here comes Vancouver. Gardner towards Gregg. Brings it down. Beasler's there for T2.
That's good from Beasler. Just keeping that distance with the center backs and putting a foot in there to clean things up.
Big switch from Belmar, trying to find Polk. It was easy for Chung to win the header.
It's a good header by Chung because there was 3 Timbers 2 players around that he had to get the right height on it. Otherwise, it would have come right back down him.
He's 5'8", 140 pounds, 17-year-old outside back, Caden Chung. Last year's U17 Player of the Year in Canada. In the entire country, a bright young player in the Canadian national team system.
Scored a goal against England really not too long ago. There's a lot of hype about him up in Canada.
1 minute of added time, minimum of 1 minute of added time here. Caden Chung, one of a few Canadian youth internationals in this group, whether it be with Whitecaps FC2 or with the Whitecaps first team. Marco Bustos, Ben McKendry signed to the first team. Not here tonight with WFC2, though they have played significant minutes for this side this year. Maybe one last opportunity in the first half for Vancouver. Fatau coming into the box, sends it across the area. It falls for Haber, and it's saved by McIntosh. Keeps it a one-goal game.
Well, his positioning had to be right, McIntosh. It was Adam, but he was in a good area and he had a strong hand to it, as there was enough pace on it to trouble him. But McIntosh does well to make sure he gets the save, but he puts the ball away from a dangerous area.
Vancouver got 2 past Kendall McIntosh in the first half, but that late save has kept it a 2-1 game as we head to halftime here at Providence Park. And we will hear from the T2 goalkeeper when we come back at halftime. I'll go one-on-one with Kendall McIntosh. At halftime, Vancouver 2, Portland 1. It's our 5th annual Stand Together Week, and you're invited to celebrate by teaming up with your favorite Timbers and Thorns player to give back to our community. Since 2011, we've logged over 10,000 hours of service at more than 130 events benefiting youth and the environment. It's going to be another special week in 2016. Sign up at ptstandtogether.com to save your spot. Together, we can give, unite, and inspire.
The world is a curious place, full of puzzles still waiting to be solved. Stonehenge, the pyramids, Easter Island, and today, another enigma rises out of the clouds. Who is the face on the tail?
This car wasn't made in Detroit, or Tokyo, or Mexico City. This, the Mini Clubman, was crafted in Oxford, England, a place where mass production isn't all that massive. And each car is engineered, customized, tuned, and crafted one at a time. Introducing the new Mini Clubman, made in Oxford.
Mini of Portland, proud sponsor of the Portland Thorns and Timbers 2. We make it fun.
Welcome back to Providence Park. Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2 a 2-1 lead over Portland Timbers 2 at halftime. Well, T2 goalkeeper Kendall McIntosh led in 2 goals in this first half, but despite that, he has had a strong start to his professional career, starting the last 4 matches for T2, leading the team to a 2-1-1 record. And he has quite some pedigree, spent time with the U.S. youth national teams while growing up, started in the 2011 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. I recently went one-on-one with a T2 goalkeeper who has some pretty good stories about his times in college and also his current setup with T2. An opportunity to play at Providence Park. You've done that once before, Real Monarchs. What was that experience like for you, stepping out onto that field in that stadium?
Oh, the fans were great. I think there's a lot of adrenaline going on there. physically, you're always up for games like that. But mentally, having the support of the fans, they were fantastic. And then mentally, going into the game, we had a really good week of preparation, and I think it showed in the result and how we went out and how we played. And I think if we can continue to prepare like that, we'll continue to have success.
I know you enjoy being on the road as well. You enjoy getting razzed a little bit by opposing fans. What's your favorite road experience so far?
Okay, so my senior year, we went to Akron, and they created this life-size poster of one of the frat guys and my mom. And they just had it right behind the goal, and there's a couple hundred of them right behind me screaming. They had all my tweets. They had been on my Instagram. It was a really cool experience.
How'd you play in that game?
Oh, I thought I did well. I thought I had a really good game. We were unlucky, I think, not to get a result there, but the atmosphere was great, and I think like those experiences always stick with you.
Now that you're here and you're settled in, one of your teammates is Wade Hamilton, and you go back with Wade. You've been playing against him and with him. It seems like kind of your guys' whole career. What's your relationship like, and what's your background like with Wade?
That's my boy. I love Wade. We've been acquaintances since we were 12, but then around 15, we moved into residency together in Florida, and our relationship kind of grew from there. And, I mean, he's been one of my really good buddies from the start, basically. So it's fantastic to see how well he's doing with the first team, and I think it's fantastic just to help support him and have him help support me and continuing our careers as professional goalkeepers.
Speaking of residency, I know when you were 16, 17-year-old in residency in Florida, your roommate was Christian Duarte. Your roommate now is Christian Duarte, now that you guys are professionals. What's the difference, the biggest difference between living together as 16 and 17-year-olds and now living together as adults out in the real world?
We have a lot more freedom, I think. Like, that's definitely a big part, because residency was a lot more structured in that we couldn't go do what we wanted all the time. But now that we're older and more professional, I think having that freedom is good, but then we can also keep each other in check. So if one of us is like kind of, I don't really want to do this, we can kind of get on each other and be like, no, we have to. Like, and the relationship there is tight. So I think it's keeping us in line, and it's keeping us with the right mentality for football, at least.
What bugs you the most about Christian Duarte as a roommate?
His eating. His eating, man. Like, I love the guy. I love him so much. He's my boy. But he, like, slurps his cereal, and oh my, I can't deal with that. And he, like, I feel like he does it on purpose now because he knows I don't like it. He, like, kind of slurps it and laughs. But, I mean, he's a really good guy. I love him, and he's been a great roommate so far.
Kendall McIntosh and T2 with a 2-1 deficit at halftime against Vancouver. We'll be back from Providence Park.
There's do-it-yourself health, and then there's times when you need more. Introducing Providence Express Care. Get a same-day visit for the things you just can't treat at home. The sore throat that won't quit, that soccer sprain, the stomach ache that no pink drink can settle. We're here for you 7 days a week with extended hours to suit your life. Want fast care from folks who know health? That's Providence Express Care. Find the location nearest you today at providenceexpresscare.org.
We want to be a team that's expansive. We want to be a team that when we play in Merlot, fans want to come watch us play because we're exciting, because we have a good product on the field.
Space left foot, yes! Eddie, Eddie, Eddie!
You should see that the hard work that you're putting into it is working, and you should feel excited about that. We can never be satisfied with what we have to do to continue to take the next step.
Tonight, home-baked Papa Murphy's Chicken Bacon Artichoke Gourmet Delight, topped with fresh spinach, grilled chicken, artichoke hearts, and bacon. Or try the Vegetarian Gourmet Delight, topped with creamy garlic sauce and your favorite fresh vegetables on a crispy, thin crust. And at just $11 for a large, all you need for this gourmet meal is a comfy spot on the couch. Order online at papamurphys.com. Love at 425 degrees.
This car wasn't made in Detroit or Tokyo or Mexico City. This, the Mini Clubman, was crafted in Oxford, England, a place where mass production isn't all that massive. And each car is engineered, customized, tuned, and crafted one at a time. Introducing the new Mini Clubman, made in Oxford.
Mini of Portland, proud sponsor of the Portland Thorns and Timbers 2. We make it fun.
There's do-it-yourself health, and then there's times when you need more. Introducing Providence Express Care. Get a same-day visit for the things you just can't treat at home. The sore throat that won't quit, that soccer sprain, the stomach ache that no pink drink can settle. We're here for you 7 days a week with extended hours to suit your life. Want fast care from folks who know health? That's Providence Express Care. Find the location nearest you today at providenceexpresscare.org.
Welcome back inside Providence Park at halftime. Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 with a 2-1 lead over Portland Timbers 2. Jake Sivan alongside Ross Smith. Let's get right to the first half highlights of this match because Vancouver got right to taking the lead in the first minute of play. Ross, Kyle Gregg finished off an opportunity, and just like that, it was 1-0.
You can see it was a slow start for Timbers 2 as they didn't drop off enough. That first header is one. It's one long ball that gets flicked on, and the Timbers, they don't deal with it. And from there, Gregg, he follows up and gets enough contact. It's a deflection that helps it in. And then from there to go up 2-0 with Fatal drawing the free kick and stepping up to take it. I just wondered here, could the wall have jumped? Could have just hopped a little bit on the outside there, but to take nothing away from Fatal because it had enough pace, it had the direction to take the Whitecaps 2 up 2-0.
The former T2 player scoring on his return to Portland. But T2 pulled one back in the 27th through Nico Brett.
Well, he's worked tirelessly. Belmar up front, just running those channels, causing problems on that back line. And from there, he just outmuscles his defender, Chung, as you see. He just puts him to the ground, and from there, picks his head up and sees Nico Brett, who started off the play. He finishes it off by parking himself right in the middle and providing that final touch.
Big goal from Nico Brett to make this a one-goal game. That's where we're at halftime. Second half kick coming up after the break.
Tonight, home-baked Papa Murphy's Chicken Bacon Artichoke Gourmet Delight. Topped with fresh spinach, grilled chicken, artichoke hearts, and bacon. Or try the Vegetarian Gourmet Delight. Topped with creamy garlic sauce and your favorite fresh vegetables on a crispy, thin crust. And at just $11 for a large, all you need for this gourmet meal is a comfy spot on the couch. Order online at papamurphys.com. Love at 425 degrees.
The world is a curious place, full of puzzles still waiting to be solved. Stonehenge, the pyramids, Easter Island, and today, another enigma rises out of the clouds. Who is the face on the tail?
This car wasn't made in Detroit, or Tokyo, or Mexico City. This, the Mini Clubman, was crafted in Oxford, England, a place where mass production isn't all that massive. And each car is engineered, customized, tuned, and crafted one at a time. Introducing the new Mini Clubman, made in Oxford.
Mini of Portland, proud sponsor of the Portland Thorns and Timbers 2. We make it fun.
There's do-it-yourself health, and then there's times when you need more. Introducing Providence Express Care. Get a same-day visit for the things you just can't treat at home. The sore throat that won't quit, that soccer sprain, the stomach ache that no pink drink can settle. We're here for you 7 days a week with extended hours to suit your life. Want fast care from folks who know health? That's Providence Express Care. Find the location nearest you today at providenceexpresscare.org.
Tonight, home-baked Papa Murphy's Chicken Bacon Artichoke Gourmet Delight. Topped with fresh spinach, grilled chicken, artichoke hearts, and bacon. Or try the Vegetarian Gourmet Delight. Topped with creamy garlic sauce and your favorite fresh vegetables on a crispy, thin crust. And at just $11 for a large, all you need for this gourmet meal is a comfy spot on the couch. Order online at papamurphys.com. Love at 425 degrees.
T2 back out on the pitch as they await the second half kickoff, looking to overturn a 2-1 halftime deficit against their Cascadia rivals from Vancouver. Jake Sivan and Ross Smith at Providence Park on a pristine Friday night in Portland. Ross, what did you see from T2 in the first half?
I thought there was some nice flow at times, and there's some good passages of play which opened up the Whitecaps too. And I look at some bright spots. Of course, Nico Brett looked good. Farfan on the far side on the left back coming forward. I thought he looked bright. He sparkled a few times. But what you want to see more of is that combination between Bijev and Carlton Belmar. They haven't quite clicked or found one another. And also Taylor Pay. I think this second half for him to get a hold of Fatal. Fatal obviously with his goal, the second goal, he's been looking confident. He's been playing with a bit of swagger. I think an instruction to Taylor Pay would be get stuck in on him to start the opening 15 minutes of the second half.
On the other hand, Vancouver, they got 2 goals early. One in the first minute of play, then Fatal's free kick in the 19th minute. But then it seemed like T2 was able to control play. If you're Vancouver, what's your message heading into the second half?
I think the best actions have come from getting the ball out to Fatal, and obviously Greg, he created that first goal. He flicked it on, then he followed up the play. He's obviously a difficult man in this league with the goals that he has scored, and good target man for the Whitecaps too to play off of. Haven't seen a lot of this man here throwing the ball in. Levi's thought in the first game we saw of him earlier in the year at Merlot Field that he was getting up and down, he was cutting inside, he was stringing some passes together. Hasn't been able to do an awful lot of that in the first half.
As the second half underway, T2 wins it. Lewis. Belmar goes down. It was clean. Levi's coming forward. Out wide to Fatal. Back to Brett Levi's. Now Gardner looking for Haber. Defended by Farfan. Haber cuts it back. Nakugo got a touch, and McIntosh pounced.
It was a good spot by Gardner as he just found himself in a nice little pocket. Beasler shut off the center part of the pick, so he forced Gardner to go down that lane, and he picked out a nice pass, seeing Haber streaking across.
Farfan looking for Belmar. And the flag was up. Carlton Belmar was offside. Spencer Ritchie making his 4th start. Sem de Wit at center back. Only player on Vancouver to play every minute this season. 21-year-old from the Netherlands. Farfan thinks it was off Haber. It was off Marco Farfan. Chung to Seymour. Will Seymour, certainly familiar with Portland. He draws a foul. Played 3 seasons with the Timbers U23s. Was a 4-year starter just down the road in Corvallis at Oregon State University. Farfan does well to win it for T2. Now here comes Portland.
That's really good stuff, the way the Timbers could get out of that. Farfan gets the tackle, picks his head up and sees Bijev occupying a good area. He's peeled off away. And his first touch into Lewis, all of a sudden the Timbers are able to get up the pitch and have the spell of possession.
Taylor Pay gets around Fatal and then gets around Levi's. Pay, a dangerous cross into the box. Farmer did well to head it clear.
Farmer did very well, not only to get his positioning to get that front stick, but to keep that ball from going out for a corner kick.
Pay has a long throw. He'll launch it into the box. Levi's pops it high into the air. Pay wants to see if it'll run out for a corner kick, and it does. Marco Farfan, the left back, will take the long jog over to take this corner. Just 17 years old, a junior in high school, attends Centennial High School in Portland. Member of the Timbers Academy, but playing with T2, he has started every match this season.
Just looking at Gallagher, he's fighting for a spot around the keeper.
This is wafted to the back post. Pay is there, headed down into a dangerous spot and cleared off the line. Still not out of danger yet for Vancouver. Bijev keeps it in play. And then it's poked out for a T2 throw.
It was good ball by Farfan at the far stick. It's got good velocity on it. He's hung it up well that Pay can go and search for it.
Bijev gets in between two Whitecaps FC2 defenders. Beasler steps forward to the feet of Brett. He couldn't handle it. Lewis steps up to win it back for Portland. Beautiful cut back from Andre Lewis. Slipped through for Bijev. Took a deflection off a Vancouver player, and Richie's able to collect.
It's positive. And I look at Beasler there. It didn't quite come off, but you'd like to see more of him bursting in out of that central midfield position and just spinning it around the corner into whether it's the front man and going off on the other side. You got to pick your moments from there because he's obviously the holding center midfielder, but when you can do that and you come out of midfield, you get an extra number up in the attack.
Haber battling with Farfan. Ball Decimo towards Gardner. Gallagher wins it. Marco Farfan. Belmar settles. Tried to get it to Polk. It was behind Ben Polk, but stays with T2.
Look at the speed of pass from Farfan. The last couple entry passes that he's gone in, he's fizzed them in, and that's a sign of a confident young player to put your laces right through it and to hit your mark the way he's done.
Taylor Pay pushed forward to Brett. Back into the corner for Taylor Pay. Tried to nutmeg Fatau. Fatau was able to win it.
Well, I think a good way of getting at Fatau and stopping him from attacking is obviously forcing him to defend. Saw Pay just a couple of times in the first half. Bomb down that right-hand side. We're seeing more of it in the second half early on.
Pay gets there, and the ball is out for a goal kick. More active in the attack, certainly, than in the first half. The Portland Timbers and Thorns are currently offering an exciting camp program for soccer players of all ages and all skill levels, from 5 to 13 years of age. Each camp focuses on age-appropriate activities designed to develop technical excellence and build a love for soccer. To sign up, visit timbers.com. Richie mishit the goal kick. It ended up being okay. But Gallagher immediately wins it back for T2. They have had all of the ball in the first 6 or 7 minutes of the second half. And really at the end of the first half, how do they turn this possession, Ross, into a goal?
Well, I think you're starting to see them causing problems as the speed of their play has quickened coming out this second half. And I just felt that in the first half there were times where the build-up was good, but then that final pass where the weight wasn't there, the timing, it was on the wrong foot.
Lewis takes it away in the midfield. Farmer breaks it up. Lewis goes down and wins a free kick in a very dangerous spot.
And to turn it into goal-scoring opportunities, a chance to break through, you have to be willing to take risks. And just look how Lewis, he drives into the center of the defense. And he puts his body on the line. As DeVitt there just comes off of his line and he's trying to win that challenge. And in the end, he brings down Lewis.
Brett, Belmar, Polk all around the ball now. They both leave, and it's going to be Andre Lewis, it appears, who will have this opportunity. And Nico Brett comes back to take another look at it.
From that angle, you don't have an awful lot of the net to shoot at if you're going to go for the right curler into the far post.
It will be Andre Lewis. It's right into the wall. Maybe another chance for Lewis. Shot was blocked.
I think he tried to come across it. He tried to go keeper side.
Gallagher composed in the back with Seymour pressuring.
That's very good because the Whitecaps are putting pressure on. They're trying to hassle. They're trying to get the heads down for of the Timbers too, but they're strong in their possession.
Bijev gets in between a pair of Whitecaps FC 2 players and then gives it away looking for Marco Farfan.
Hasn't quite come off for Bijev yet tonight. As we talked about, new position for him, the number 10, he played it in the last match. He just hasn't quite found his rhythm into this game yet.
Again, Taylor Pay pushed forward on the right side. Now Akugo into Brett, touchdown to Pay. Coming into a dangerous spot. Fatau slides in, knocks it out for a T2 corner, their 5th of the match.
Well, again, it's nice and positive as the ball just spins off Nico Brett. A fine little touch, and Fatau, he does make up the ground. Shows he's willing to do his defensive duties.
Farfan drives this one to the near post. It comes off of a Whitecaps FC 2 player, and it'll be another corner for T2.
It's good delivery by Farfan. He's asking questions of the defending team, and he's putting it into a spot where his attackers can go get it.
This one lofted to the back post. Again, it's Taylor Pay. Header was won by Vancouver. Now Belmar sending it to the back post, and it's wide of the goal.
Two minds. Don't know whether Belmar was thinking a shot or a pass, and in the end, he did neither.
Now Vancouver pushed forward. Greg trying to play it through. Didn't work. Fatau to Levi's, back into the corner for Fatau, but too far. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow @Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Fatau, Akugo, Pay both there to defend, and they take it away from Fatau.
To see with Akugo, he's finding his way into this match as well.
Belmar brings it down, lays it off for Bijev. Lewis out wide to Farfan. He's going to have to turn around, come back to get it. Now Gallagher into some space for Belmar. It's handled easily by DeVitt. Beasler comes over, brings down Seymour.
Good positioning by DeVitt. He was starting to run to follow the runner in. Gallagher, he didn't catch the pass as he would have liked, and DeVitt having the calmness to bring that ball down and begin possession.
Big ball from DeVitt. There's two Whitecaps FC, 2 players over there. Lewis, Akugo battling, and they both take it, combined to take it away. Now Lewis has to get rid of it, finally does. Beasler just couldn't connect. A couple yards off on that ball to Belmar.
Those are perhaps moments where all of a sudden something catches your eye and you pick your head up, you see that pass, but then at the last second a doubtful thought comes into your mind and you think, I better hit this right, otherwise if it's intercepted, I'm in trouble. And it's just that immediate thought that all of a sudden you can have a miscue.
Polk having a run at Chung. Bijev has some space in the middle, he turns. Villian Bijev, still Bijev, leaves for Belmar, out wide to Nico Brett. Brett cuts it back, sends it to the back post. DeVitt was able to head it clear. And now Fatau coming forward.
Belmar had peeled off the back check. Once he played it, he went and he was waving his arm. But Nico Brett, he couldn't get enough on that pass to find them.
Chung all the way back to Ritchie. Belmar will pressure.
Just saying, in terms of style for both clubs, you can obviously see they're encouraged to play out and to play under pressure and to do the right things. And that's such a breath of fresh air when you see that with clubs, as you can clearly see they want to do all the right things in the team, and recognizing their young players that you hope they're going to go on to have good, strong careers and play at a high level. And they certainly are trying to get things right now.
Lewis steps up to take it away. Vancouver wins it back. T2 gets it back. Beasler turns. Lewis back to Pay. Beasler's brought down. T2 will have a restart.
Beasler was a bit fortunate there that he did get brought down. He was turning into trouble.
Farfan battling with Haber. Gets it back to Gallagher. Wide to Farfan. Gallagher steps forward. Flicks it over a couple Whitecaps players to Farfan. Now it's Polk. Sends it into the box. Ritchie well off his line, aggressive, and made the catch.
Just wondered if that was a moment that Farfan tried something very different, where he's popped it off his shoulder, it almost looked like. It was a good pass from Gallagher to lift it into Farfan's pass, but I think he's just taken off his shoulder to try a nice little 1-2.
Just 17 years old. He has seemed to really grow with confidence every match he's played with T2. Chung coming forward, gets around Farfan. Another 17-year-old. It's off Gallagher, and it's a corner kick for Vancouver. And a pair of substitutions will now be made, our first two of the match. The first one will be Vancouver, as Giuliano Frano will come into the match for Thomas Gardner. Frano making his 6th appearance this season. A former Seattle Sounders 2 player. Made the move north in the offseason. He comes on for Gardner in the midfield, and then for T2, Amobi Akugo will come out of the match. So his Timbers organization debut lasts about 60 minutes. Terrell Lowe will come in. Terrell Lowe, another academy member, just like Marco Farfan. Akugo leaving at the 60th minute was part of the plan all game. He's trying to get match fit so he can contribute to the first team to the Timbers. He was going to go 60 minutes tonight. Lowe will come into the match now to help defend this corner kick. Floated to the back post. Pay wins the header. Still inside the area. Second cross into the back post. This is headed on goal, but right at McIntosh. It was a good opportunity for Vancouver.
Not a bad ball. It just wasn't enough power on it for Greg to really get anything behind that ball.
Quick distribution from McIntosh. Polk running it to Vitt. Polk gets around to Vitt. And it's out for a goal kick. Ritchie didn't get a touch, but that was promising.
Well, Polk has done so much right there. I don't know how this hasn't been given for a corner kick, because it looked as though Ritchie got a hand to it, but Polk, he squared up his defender. Went 1v1, got his little bit of space. I just thought could he have gone back across goal.
Nico Brett was heading to the corner to take what he thought was going to be a corner kick, as T2 thought that Ritchie got a touch. But the referee, Marco Vega, immediately pointed to the 6-yard box for a goal kick. Fatau now will be defended by Lowe. He sends it into the box. It's easy for McIntosh.
Let's go back to that nice little play from Polk, and so often you see all the step overs, all the fancy stuff. Now all it needs is that drop of the shoulder, change of pace, and that's exactly what Ben Polk showed. Got onto the edge of the box where defender hates defending when they get into their area, because they know if they dangle a leg, they're in trouble. And Ben Polk, he squared them up, drop of the shoulder, simple as you could be, and then he's gone for a strike.
With the substitution of Lowe for Akugo, Taylor Pay has moved to center back. Terrell Lowe at right back. Over the top, Farfan runs it down. Trying to get around Caden Chung. Chung has position. A great battle between these two.
So much fun to watch these two.
Farfan eventually wins it, coming forward into the box, and it's taken away by Vancouver. Both organizations, I think the Timbers and the Whitecaps, have got to be really excited about the future of those two 17-year-old outside backs. Levi's coming forward. Fatau. Seymour back to Fatau. Still Fatau. Pay blocks it. It's a corner kick.
There's good movement from Fatau. He just got in between the fullback, Lowe and Taylor Pay, and I'm interested to see Lowe coming into this match. How quick does it take him to get up to the right levels, to the pace of the game? I've watched him quite a bit at training and seeing him now and again jump in with the first team. I've been so impressed with Lowe at times. He's come up against guys like Nagby, and he's shown that he's no slouch for pace.
Turned 18 last week, member of the Timbers Academy, a senior in high school. Fatau sends it into the box. Beasler heads it right back to his former teammate. Second chance for a cross. Headed away at the near post by Polk. It hasn't been easy for Vancouver when T2 is pressured high. Greg flicks it on towards Haber. Gallagher won the header. Pay's got to come back to recover for T2, and he's able to do that.
Well, that's the ball that gave T2 trouble right off the start, where the Whitecaps too got their first goal. Just one long ball, and they haven't dropped enough. Is that first ball. It's almost when that ball goes in the air, if you're not the one putting your name on it to go win it, you need to drop off 3, 4, 5 yards sometimes. You'd rather that ball drop in front of you than behind where you're chasing back.
Beasler touches around Seymour.
That's nice. Nice little stop and go. You stand the player up, you put him on pause, and then you shift the ball.
T2 still being very patient. Down a goal. They've had a lot of the ball in the second half.
I think you want to see more of Nico Brett. Just haven't quite seen as much. He's had a couple of nice touches. One where he's laid it into the path of Taylor Pay earlier on, but he needs to get more involved in the game. He had the first stop by the scruff of his neck.
Bijev draws a foul. It's the first yellow card of the match, and it goes to Kyle Gregg, the Vancouver captain.
It was a foul. Didn't see a whole lot in that to be worthy of a booking.
Gallagher and Pay come forward, the big center backs, for this set piece. Brett, dangerous ball into the box. It's saved by Ritchie at the last second, sprawling to his left, kept it out.
Ritchie has done very well actually here to keep that ball up. You're told when you're on that ball, the free kick, if you're going to go far stick, take it as such with the direction that if it touches no player, it's going to go into that side netting. And Nico Brett does well with that delivery, but Ritchie doesn't see the ball till late, and he does recover.
Seventh corner kick for T2. Ritchie punches it out for another corner. It'll be the 8th. And we saw here, season opener MLS, Timbers Columbus crew, Diego Valeri, a little more narrow of an angle, but a very similar ball played into the box that got all the way through for a goal. Ritchie was able to make the save this time and now makes the catch on the corner.
Wasn't too bad a ball. He almost needed a player for T2 just coming across the face of Ritchie, just having a leap off of 1 foot. Try and get to that ball before him.
.22 minutes to find a goal for T2 to get level in this match. Find 2 to come away with 3 points. How do they do that? And we'll get to that in a moment as Vancouver's coming forward. Haber into the box. Low into the path of Seymour, who hits it wide.
He caught it well. Seymour, he made up the run late. Just finding that edge of the box.
A couple substitutions now coming for T2. Ben Polk will come out of the match for Blake Bodley, who makes his 2016 T2 debut. Another Timbers Academy member. He was kind of the darling of T2 last season, playing 6 matches, starting 2 as a 17-year-old. He did last year kind of what Marco Farfan has done this year. He was dealing with some injuries at the beginning of the season, now making his season debut. A left midfielder. Also into the match is Andy Toma for Marco Farfan. Bijev just out of the reach of Brett, but still there maybe for T2.
I like this decision by Andrew Greger here because
Brett from distance puts it over the bar.
Because if you bring on Blake Bodley, all of a sudden that left-hand side is very young and inexperienced with Farfan there. And as you're trying to get your way back into the match, you do need that bit of sturdiness at the back still. Even though Andy Toma will get forward, you've got the experience of Andy Toma now to be paired up with the youngster Blake Bodley.
Andy Toma had a leg injury that made him miss the majority of the T2 season. He's, of course, signed to the first team in his second year in the organization. Played in 26 matches for T2 last year. Made his season debut last week, played 10 minutes off the bench against Colorado Springs. Is going to get double that, 20 minutes here tonight.
It'd be neat to see just how he combines in his relationship with Blake Bodley. And one thing that has always struck me about Bodley is his courage. Just how young he is, but he's not afraid to go in search for the ball. And when he does, that ball that looks so natural on his foot, it's almost like a gazelle, the way he can glide and the way he can run. You talk about having that cultured sort of left foot where you can get it out your feet, you can start swerving passes in.
He's committed to the University of Washington, has really thrived under the tutelage of Andrew Greger. Fatau appears to be in some pain. Keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL.
Whether Fatau has just turned an ankle or spun awkwardly, but you see how tight Lowe is there to make sure that he's not going to get a run on him or be able to secure that touch. And just wonder whether it's a calf strain by the man of the physio is pulling down on that toe.
Fatau has the second goal of this match for Vancouver, 19th minute. A free kick from about 25 yards out against his former team. Played last season with T2. He'll step to the side of the pitch as Jordan Haynes for Vancouver walks to the fourth official. Don't know if this substitution will indeed be for Fatau. And it will be, as the fourth official shows Fatau's number for Haynes' number. So Vancouver has made their second substitution of this match. Jordan Haynes, 20-year-old, another Whitecaps residency graduate coming on for Fatau.
As I was saying before about getting stuck into players, I'm never one for players just getting injured or wanting to see them go off the pitch, but just how tight Lowe was there to him to make sure that Fatau couldn't get away. And you talk about having to slow players down or to calm them down. That's just where you put a bit of aggression into them and they see what they're about. Obviously, Fatau's come up the worse for wear. That's how you get a hold of players when they're having a strong impact on games.
Jordan Haynes just into the match, trying to make an impact, touches around Terrell Lowe. Still Haynes. His cross is all the way through, and it will run out for a T2 throw. Back to what I posed a moment ago, Ross. Now just 17 minutes left to find a goal. Where does that come from in T2?
Well, since you asked that question, Andrew Greger, he's made a couple of changes, and so his immediate thought will be you need to try something different. Get a couple different bodies, a couple different skill sets in the game to try and open things up. I think with Blake Bodley, he's got the ability to get to the end line and put crosses in. Perhaps for a run from Carlton Belmar. I think you need to see more of Nico Brett. You haven't seen enough in him in the second half. The way he took control of the first half, you need to get him the ball.
Seymour looking for Craig, might end up with Haynes, and it does, and Vancouver takes a 3-1 lead.
The center backs were settling in nice, Taylor Pay and Gallagher, but they missed their marks here. As Gallagher is just flat-footed, he can't deal with that ball. He should be dealing with it. And as it just goes in between his legs, he knows himself that that ball should be getting cleared out. But Haynes, he stays with the play. He comes on the end of it. And with a bit of luck, he puts Vancouver Whitecaps ahead 3-1.
First goal of the season for Jordan Haynes. First goal of his WFC2 career. He was one of the first 3 signings for this club when they announced the creation of Whitecaps FC2. And now the task much tougher for Portland.
That's tough on Gallagher because I think he's had a very strong night. It's amazing how this game can sometimes punish you for the few mistakes that you make. And on that one, he'll look back on it thinking he should have been lighter on his feet, he should have been quicker, read the situation. It's a little bit sharper than what he did.
Andy Toma pushing forward. That cross took a deflection, but it's into the belly of Spencer Ritchie. And he sends it out into touch as Daniel Haber is now down and stretching himself out.
Looks as though he's feeling a touch of cramp.
Fatau a moment ago. Now it's Haber, who scored twice against T2 on April 2nd. Has not had the same kind of impact tonight. It is his birthday. Turned 24 years old today.
Seen out on the pitch now, a few conversations are being had. Andre Lewis going back to Gallagher, whether he's saying that get that head up to pick up the passes through the midfield to try and get it into Beasler and Lewis, try and suck the Whitecaps to midfield out, create some openings.
Haber, after cramping up, will leave the match. Sahil Sandhu will come on, making his second appearance of the season. Third substitution of for Vancouver tonight. In the USL, 5 substitutions are allowed, so each team could make 2 more substitutions tonight if they choose to. Vancouver with 10 behind the ball as they defend this 3-1 lead. And now they'll try to break. Levi's coming forward. Still Brett Levi's. Still Brett Levi's. Monster run from the left back. Floated it into space and well behind Kyle Gregg.
Well, he did all the hard work. Just how he was able to shield off Lowe. He took the weight off Lowe and he continued on his path. Showed you the burst of pace that he has. And the engine in him at this stage of the game to still be making those runs down that left-hand flank.
Gallagher down the line, cut off by Chun.
The set out, Whitecaps do, just defensively, their posture. They're screening, they're trying to take away as many options as they can.
Bijev knocked down, Belmar also knocked down. Vancouver comes away with it as Belmar stays on the turf. Lewis wins it for T2. And it's given right back. Quick ball forward, looking for Greg, is too far. Nico Brett was looking for the run of Belmar, didn't hit it right. Whitecaps FC2 give it right back.
Just been watching Bijev to see where he was going to show up and the areas that he could pop into.
Sandhu gets a run forward. Leaves for Haynes. Now Greg. Caden Chung cuts inside and around Bodley. Chung goes down, and Vancouver will have a free kick in a dangerous spot.
Nice bit of play by Chung. He just stands up, he gets his little touches in, and then it's a little change of direction as he takes the ball away. Just wondered whether Blake Bodley came across and got the slightest of touches there. A little toe poke on the ball.
Levi's over the ball. It'll be DeVitt, the center back. Comes back out to Haynes. Chipped into the box. Shouts for a handball, not given. Gallagher sends it into space. Belmar is going to run after it. Frano gets there first.
The Whitecaps too, they've been squeezing that pitch. They've been trying to make things congested and go back to their free kick. Andy Toma, straight one for the team there.
Didn't phase the left back. And Toma draws a foul on the other side.
And I thought that was a good challenge by Sandhu. He got his body there, protected the ball, kept his foot on it.
Nico Brett to the near post. Bijev tried to flick it on. Gallagher pops it high into the air. Finally sent outside of the box by Vancouver. Belmar tries to get around Haynes, touches it past Haynes, and it comes off of the Whitecaps FC2 defender, and it's a corner kick for Portland. Blake Bodley, the 18-year-old, will take this corner. Floated high into the box, looking for Pay on the back post, headed into a dangerous area. Nobody there for T2.
That's 3 times now that Taylor Pay has been able to leap up above his defender at that far stick.
The big bodies stay forward. Maybe another chance for a cross. Bodley. Frano slid and broke it up. Still not out of danger yet, though, for Vancouver. Low. Touch down the line to Bodley. Back to Terrell Lowe.
Just almost want Bodley to be making that run instead of having it to feet. Play him in the space. The opportunity's there. I think that's what you get where he's Obviously an inverted winger playing on that side. He wants it to his left peg to cut it back in.
Now Lewis. Brett takes a touch. Tried to keep it from going out for a goal kick. He wasn't able to. It'll be a goal kick for Vancouver. And now a substitution for T2. This will be their 4th of the match as they go for to try to get some points out of this. They need 2 goals, and so they're going to bring on Alexis Meva, the 18-year-old forward, for defensive midfielder in Nick Beasler, who will come out. Meva for Beasler, 4th substitution for T2.
We're just getting the sense over the last few minutes that T2, they've been struggling for ideas to try and break down the Whitecaps too.
Meva comes back as Haynes controls. Now Levi's down the line for Haynes. Knocked off the ball a little bit by Bodley, no call. Brett will come forward. Chung slides in to win it for Vancouver.
Yeah, he read it well, Chung. He was just waiting to see what Brett was going to do with the ball.
Chung slips, and now Toma can come in and take it away. DeVitt steps up to win it back for Vancouver. Sent into space. Chung will be able to go one-on-one at Gallagher. Plays it first time towards Greg. Lewis comes back to win it. Fancy footwork to get it away from Greg. And then Frano comes in, sends it out for a T2 throw.
They're pushing numbers, T2. With 3 at the back. Taylor Pay's on the outside. Gallagher in the middle. Andy Tomo on the left here. Low is coming central.
Lowe can play as a right back or as a defensive midfielder, which is probably more his natural position, where he's played most with the academy. So he's doing that now as Meva has moved into the attack. Pay, nifty flick towards Alexis Meva. Now Lewis, Brett, Meva. Low, Toma, Blake Bodley. A chance for a cross, sent to the back post over the head of Bijev, who can't control it. It's sent out for a T2 throw. And now Vancouver will make their 4th substitution. Kyle Gregg will come off, and Taron Campbell will come on.
Let's go back to that last play for Bodley. As soon as that ball's coming to him right away, you can see the way his body is shaping up, and he's trying to go forward. It's been drilled into him for him to be an attacker, to have a positive influence on the game, to be able to put those balls in, to get whipping balls in, to put them into a dangerous area. And that's where I talk about courage. If it doesn't come off, you've seen him time and again continue to try, continuing to look forward, because as an attacker, you're evaluating in your game, well, how many balls did you get into the box? How many crosses did you go off? How many chances did you create?
Bijev flicks it on. It's easy for Richie. Sandu. Chung. Back to DeVitt.
Be interesting just to see how Whitecaps do try and kill this game out now. Obviously, you talk about the development teams, and the results aren't the be-all and end-all,
right.
But also you want to teach players how to win, how to see out games, because when they make that step up into the first team, they've got to be able to understand how to close things out.
Gallagher gives it away. Sandu, Campbell. Gallagher steps up, makes it difficult for Sandu. Rather for Campbell. Seymour comes away with it. Looking for Campbell in the box, and it gets to McIntosh.
A good shout by McIntosh. Obviously, he did put a call on it, as Taylor Pay was initially going to win it, and then he pulled out.
as you talk about it with T2, and it's the same with Whitecaps FC too, a development team, a USL team of an MLS side. It's not necessarily about winning, it's about developing. Vancouver's going to be thrilled that they're with their start so far to this season. But if you are T2, as Mavra with a chance in the top of the box, now with Bijev, still Bijev, broken up by Vancouver, who has almost everybody behind the ball. Given that, Ross, what positive do you take from tonight if you're Andrew Gregor, if you're the Timbers organization?
Well, I think progression from it, and Jake, you and I, we covered the first handful of games and obviously follow the team since, but now into the 10th game, I think the progression has been noticeable and clearly noticeable, just the style of the play and the ability of players. Every single player that we see tonight are better than what we saw from the first game of the year. And if you talk specifically about tonight, there's an identity, there's a purpose to the play. They're trying to play through the thirds, they're trying to get it into the midfielders. Nico Brett, a winger coming inside, similar to the first team. He's trying to create actions, he's trying to create overloads. So I think overall you see a much more positive play from T2 in their approach and the mentality that the heads don't go down as soon as they get behind on things. And I think that shows tonight when they're 2-0 down, they're continuing to fight and continuing to do the right things in the right moments.
Chung sends it forward. Gallagher, under pressure from Campbell, gets it back to McIntosh. It would be 4 minutes of added time, a minimum of 4 minutes. Sandu out wide to Frano, out of the reach.
I think you take little moments like that where Gallagher has allowed that ball to bounce, and I think where you get a coach like Andrew Gregor who's playing at the highest level, he'll be going across to Gallagher to tell him, look, if you do that in the first team, you're going to get punished. Our striker's going to come down on you.
Bodley takes a positive touch, looking for Bijev, the header right at Ritchie. T2 still pressing to try to pull one back.
And going the other way. Blake Bodley, he just picks up his head, he sees the ball that he wants to put in, and Bijev does well to come across his mark. A little too far out though for him to really affect Ritchie.
Belmar, Nico Brett, heavy touch. Here comes Vancouver. Campbell certainly looked offside. The flag comes up. He's offside.
That was well done by Farmer, just looking down defensively how hard they're working, Whitecaps do, and as soon as that's gone into Brett, Farmer, the center back, he released off his line to go close down.
Now Pay, a touch around Haynes. Levi's is there to send it into touch. Pay wants to go quick. Thrown into the box. Farmer comes up to win the header.
Come on to a strong second half, the center back pairing for Whitecaps do. I thought at times in the first half they looked a little nervy. They were put under pressure by Carlton Belmar. And they looked as though they were having a tough time in moments to deal with that, but they've certainly cleaned things up.
A couple 21-year-olds, Jackson Farmer and Sem de Wit. Farmer, a graduate of the Whitecaps residency. De Wit from the Netherlands, spent the last 4 seasons in his home country before signing with WFC2 in the offseason. Toma across, mishit it, and it's out for a goal kick.
Just a little bit of rust on Annie Toma. As you mentioned before, he's been out for a bit. He's trying to find his feet again, and that takes some time. As much as you can have the fitness in your lungs and in your legs, it's that touch, that extra little bit of sharpness that you do have to find, and the comfort on the ball.
Belmar can't run it down. Another goal kick for Vancouver.
He's always a willing runner. Carlton Belmar just hasn't quite come off for him in this second half. He created well for Nico Brett's goal in the first half. Just hasn't been able to find that cutting run and the pass to complement it.
Ritchie sends it to midfield. And Terrell Lowe brings down Sahil Sandhu. Marco Vega blows the final whistle. A 3-1 win for Vancouver as the dream start to the season continues for Whitecaps FC 2. They stay unbeaten and stay atop the USL with a 3-1 win over their Cascadia rivals. Ross, T2 falls tonight here at Providence Park. What do you take away, both sides, from this match?
Well, I think you look at the direct opposition you're up against in Vancouver Whitecaps 2. Has obviously started off very strongly. They haven't lost yet in the league, so you're going against the top team. And I think in large periods, Timbers 2, they took control of the match, and I think they'll feel a little hard done by that. If they go back and they look at all 3 goals, could they have done something about every single goal? The second goal by Fitzal was a nice bit of quality, a bit of class, but certainly the first goal and the third goal, if the Timbers in the defensive end were a little bit more clean, then they would have kept the team a lot more closer into this match. But going forward, there was some nice positive play and a nice flow to this team, and I think at times you saw some real good talent here. Nico Brett, you would pick out Blake Bodley, I think, coming on, and of course Marco Farfan. I thought in spells showed some really nice stuff. Let's take a look at the highlights of this match. It was a great start for Vancouver in just the first minute of play as Kyle Gregg took advantage of a deflection in the box for his 8th goal of the season and a 1-0 Vancouver lead. Well, it was a good flick on, and it put the Timbers in all kinds of trouble, and that's where you talk about being preventable, and the Timbers, they'll look back on that thinking they could have stopped things. This goal, I don't know, could the wall have jumped or at least gone on their tiptoes to try and get ahead on that ball as it was going through? But take nothing away because Fatal, he had the direction and he had the lift just to go over the wall. 19th minute, it was already 2-0 Vancouver when T2 breaks through. Carlton Belmar finds Nico Brett. Yeah, good sign of character, the way they bounced back, and Carlton Belmar fighting for that ball. He was the stronger of the two over Chung, who sits him down and then picks up his head to see Nico Brett following up the play and cutting the lead in half. T2 looking for an equalizer in the second half. It was 2-1 at halftime, and in the 67th minute, came pretty close. A free kick for Nico Brett, who put it into a dangerous spot, and it was saved by Spencer Ritchie. Here, though, an opportunity for Vancouver before the break that was saved by Kendall McIntosh. That was just before halftime. Here now in the second half, the opportunity from Brett Ritchie making a save at the back post. Yes, good free kick, and Brett's just trying to put it into an area that an attacker can go and get it, but if it does go all the way through, it's going to nestle into that side, and then in Ritchie, he dives late, that ball's behind him, and he's able to dig it out. And then the third from Vancouver. Moments after coming into the match, it was Jordan Haynes. And you'd feel again that the center backs will go back and think, could we have done better? Gallagher certainly, as the ball comes to him, he's just a little bit flat-footed. The ball takes a deflection and it wrong foots him, and Taylor Pay coming in, he puts in the challenge, and how unlucky is that? For it to loft over McIntosh, nothing he can do in the end. 3-1, T2 falls, but still saluting the crowd as always here at Providence Park. Next home match for T2, they'll be right back here on Thursday in just 6 days to host the other half of the Cascadia rivalry. It'll be Seattle Sounders 2 coming to Providence Park, the first matchup between T2 and S2 in this 2016 season. That is a 7 o'clock start. You can get your tickets at timbers2.com. You'll also, of course, be able to watch on timbers2.com. Final score from Providence Park, Vancouver, a 3-1 win over Portland. Whitecaps FC 2 improved to 6-0-2, 20 points. They stay atop the Western Conference. T2 falls to 3-6-1, still on 10 points, still in a tie for 8th place. For Ross Smith, for our entire crew here at Providence Park, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Jake Sivan. Have a great night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.
Stretched out to the middle.